In other news, big news on the COVID front. Today, Governor Jay Inslee announcing that he is dropping all COVID emergency orders at the end of October, and that means vaccine requirements will end for healthcare and education workers unless their employers choose to keep them in place.
However, state workers will still be required to get that COVID vaccine. KREM 2's Janelle Finch is joining us from the newsroom tonight with more on Inslee's announcement and what it all means. Janelle?
The first COVID-19 case in the nation was identified here in Washington state more than 2.5 years ago. And according to Governor Inslee, our state is ready to move forward. Looking at vaccine developments and our state's initial COVID response, Inslee says by the end of October, healthcare workers and educators will not need to be vaccinated unless an employer requires it. Now, it's important to make it clear that most state workers will still need to be required to be vaccinated as a condition of employment, including healthcare and education employees who work for the state. The governor says since the state manages these employees, vaccines are still needed to keep them safe and on the job. According to Inslee, Washington is in the top 5 states for the lowest number of COVID-19 deaths. He says rolling back these emergency orders is the next step for our state.
We now believe we can eliminate the need for this and move forward. Obviously, the world has changed so dramatically in the last several months. So we now have all these new tools. We have better medical treatment. People now have the ability, to a significant degree to protect themselves.
Governor Inslee and health leaders made it a point that removing these emergency orders does not mean COVID-19 is no longer a threat in our country or state, but we are moving into another phase in our pandemic response, which includes rolling back these emergency orders. With this announcement, just over 10% of Inslee's emergency COVID-19 orders will still be in place. City spokesperson Brian Connington says local leaders are already considering how our city's first responders, healthcare workers, and educators could be impacted. According to Connington, as of November 2021, the city has lost over 24 firefighters to resignation, retirement, and being laid off. In a statement, he says, quote, "We'll evaluate today's announcement to be sure there's a clear understanding about potential impacts to city operations." In the newsroom, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.